lastly, in Chapter 6, Lesson 1, Example 4, is a word problem using compositions of functions. So there's some stuff I already wrote out, but we'll explain. So it says Hector has $100 deducted from every paycheck for his retirement. He can have his deduction taken before state taxes are applied, which reduces his taxable income. His state income tax is 4%. He earns $1,500 every pay period. Find the difference in his net income if he has the retirement deduction taken before or after the state taxes. So basically trying to figure out is if I take $100 away first, is the amount that I'm going to get paid more versus if I tax my income and then take away the $100, what's the difference between those two things? So kind of laying out what your variables all mean in this scenario. So X is just your income that's paid, that you're paid per paycheck. R of X is going to be the income after your retirement. So the way that I'm going to write R of X is going to be my income minus $100. So in this scenario, it specifically tells you $1,500, but if that changes, this would be a formula that you could actually use to plug in like specific numbers for X to both of these. So then T of X is your income after your, and it really should stay state income tax, but after your income tax. So what that would look like is T of X is equal to X again, so like your amount minus, if we are talking about 4%, I cannot multiply by a percent, so 4% I would write as a decimal as 0.04. I'm subtracting, but I'm also taking 4% of my actual check, so I would have 0.04 times X. So I'm multiplying the 4% by the amount that I'm getting paid, and then I'm really taking that away from my total amount. So the first thing that we are going to look at is I'm going to do T of R. So similar to the compositions that we did yesterday with F of G, except for I'm going to do T of R of $1,500, meaning I'm actually now plugging in real numbers for the place of X, since I have an actual scenario behind this. So this scenario would represent that I am taking out retirement first before the taxes are subtracted. So R of T, meaning I'm doing retirement first and then I'm doing taxes. So I would have, and there are kind of two ways that you can look at this. I'm doing R of $1,500 first. So I would take $1,500 and plug it into my R of X formula. So my R of X formula is just X minus 100. So I would have 1,500 minus 100, which will give me 1,400. So now that I found R of 1,500, I'm now looking at T of $1,400. So I'm plugging the $1,400 into my T function. So when I do that, I would have $1,400 minus 0.04 times 1,400. This is really you then just plugging into your calculator. So when I plug this into my calculator, I would get $1,344. So that is how much he would earn if I'm starting with $1,500, I'm taking away the $100 retirement, and then I'm being charged for the sales tax. So this is the amount when retirement's going to come out first. It's also asking for you to do the opposite way, So what the number would look like if I'm taking sales tax first and then taking retirement. So instead of T of R, that would be R of T. And then again, I'm actually plugging in the 1500. So my first step on this one is kind of worked out backwards. So I'm doing T of 1500. So I'm plugging $1,500 into my T equation. So I had $1,500 minus 0.04 times $1,500. Again, something you would plug into your calculator. When I do that, I would get 1440 for my T value. Again, I have that added step of now taking that and plugging it in to my R function. So my R function is just subtracting 100. So I would do $1,400 minus 100, which would end in 1340. So this scenario is saying I had $1,500. I did 4% of that and subtracted it and took away my sales tax first and then took my $100 for retirement. So it's really just seeing which one is going to give you the better benefit, not that a difference. So that's what it's actually asking, is to find the difference. So this is 1344 and this is 1340. So the actual difference between them is what it's asking. So the difference is just that it would be $4 more in his paycheck to have retirement come out first. And again, right now, most of you won't care about that. However, whenever like $4 per paycheck, if that's a weekly paycheck, adds up over a year. So $4 may not seem like a lot, but in the long run, if we're talking about $4 every week or every 2 weeks, that's a little bit of a larger number, or over time if you're at a company, all of those types of things. So that's really what that question is asking. So this is all kind of the work to find this part, and then this is the work to find my second step of taxes first, then retirement. That is it for chapter 6, lesson 1.